I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that we get the news of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that we get the news of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
I've always said there are two sides of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the. Good morning and welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we look at the stories. First, Rivers State. Local government polls a selection, not election, Labour Party candidate has to say. Still on Rivers State, crisis threatens democracy. Political solution needed, Doyo Okube says. And then on to Edo State, constitutes transition team, Obaseki says to Obeblo. And on Ondo State, PDP, APC, Bika over Governor Ayadetiwa's 73,000 naira minimum wage. PDP holds Congress in Kano State and vows to take over come 2027. On local government autonomy, governors flout Supreme Court judgment with impunity, Ohana Zendigbo has to say. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away. And the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that we get the news of this minister and the president.
Give us access to our money in charge.
And thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Jackson Leko-Ojo, a political analyst and a regular on my show. Good morning, Jackson.
It's my pleasure.
You look good, by the way.
Nah, you carry your traditional beautiful face.
Thank you, Jackson. And also joining me on Open Conversation is also a regular political analyst on the show. And his name is Nze. Oh, Nze. He also prides himself as advocate of the masses. Good morning, Nze, and welcome to Open Conversation.
Good morning. You look beautiful today.
Oh, thank you. You look good as well. Both of you are looking good. And on to the story. Chairmanship candidate of the Labour Party in Port Harcourt City local government area, Prince Chioma Chiwo, has raised serious concerns over the conduct of the just concluded local government election in Rivers State, which took place on October 5, 2024. Chiwo, while condemning the outcome of the polls, described the process as a sham, saying the elections fell below expectation and globally acceptable standards. Prince Chiwo, in a statement in Port Harcourt on Sunday, explained that he decided to contest in the election following the state governor's promise, as well as the assurance of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission to conduct a free, fair and credible elections but expressed disappointment that the exercise turned out to be a selection instead of a contest. According to Chinwo, election didn't take place across the 20 wards of Port Harcourt City local government area, adding that there were reports of missing result sheets, coupled with the fact that there was no ward collation center, no local collation center, and returning officers were nowhere to be found. The statement reads in part, I have confidence contesting in the election because I believed in the promises of the RISEC chairman, who is a retired judge, and the state governor to conduct a free, fair, and credible elections, but rather it turned out to be a selection and the worst in the history, as the electoral body called RISEC failed to conduct a free, fair, and credible elections. Elections didn't take place across the 20 wards of the local government area. Result sheets were missing. Imagine an election where there was no ward collation center, no local collation center. Returning officers were nowhere to be found because of no result sheets. Election where winners were announced without number of accredited voters, without number of void votes, without total number of votes cast, without number of votes by the other party candidates. Speaking further, Chinwo said, since after the elections, RISEC office has been under lock and key, making it impossible for political parties to gain access and get copies of the results. The most shocking aspect of the irregularities was that chairmanship written results were declared before councillors and no figures were announced. The kangaroo arrangement quickly led to presentation of certificate of returns. Few hours later, they were sworn in by the state governor on Sunday evening. In the same vein, the RISEC office has been under lock and keys as political parties couldn't get access to get the purported results of the election. However, my legal team have taken action to regain our stolen mandate in a more legitimate manner. Let me start with you, Nze, because you are a member of Labour Party, and that's your candidate speaking out. Nze, what do you have to say about what Chinwo from your own political parties has to say about the local government elections?
You know, it is proper, naturally, that we view things from our perspective. The way I see things may be different from the way you see it, and if we must stand on the truth, we should allow relative agreement within our differences. And this coming from the Labour Party chairmanship candidate of Faga, it's not something different from what we've been seeing. Although we monitored that election that day, and we saw from different polling units, different local governments, different wards, people were voting and all that. So the claims of Chioma Chinwo is not out of place, and but we cannot ascertain the reality of that because some of us were not on ground on that very day to say that what he is claiming now is true or not true. But as much as he has ended up legal team with to court to challenge the election, I think that is his right.
You know why I asked you this question? Because number one, you are a stakeholder of the Labour Party. You mentioned stakeholder, so I expect that you have knowledge of the intricacies that happened behind closed doors in your party, and also the grievances of different candidates in your party. That's on one hand. And secondly, we sat down here on that day and we reached out to people in LMA local government, Andoni and all of that. And in some areas, there were also reports. This report that he made also came out as well. So you speak as if, you are removed from the whole situation. In your party, the Labour Party, apart from Chinwo, there have been candidates coming out to complain about the outcome of the elections and how they have been shortchanged by RISEC?
See, the truth is this. In every struggle, in every context, you must have, a winner, you must have a loser. And oftentimes in our system, we know that when you are not favored, you come up with issues.
Right.
But sometimes too, you may have legitimate points. You may have very reasonable points. Like just as you said in my political party, which is LP, we've had some local government chairmen coming up to accuse RISEC of the same. Like in Emoha local government, Honorable Ngozi Chika also came up to complain the same. In Obiakpo local government, you discovered that very morning, the LP chairman was kidnapped, only to be released later on the following day, earlier
after the elections were done.
After the elections were done and all that. So you see such things are there. In as much as we, as a person, as advocate of the masses, my interest is not what concerns me most, but what concerns the people. What we are looking for in River State is to see how we restore power out of the grips of those that have held us bound.
All right. Which
we are believing that if God been with us, as we know, if we succeed in this, we then move to the federal. Because I see that the APC-led administration have really held Nigerians into captivity, and we need to restore power out of their hands.
Right.
So that my party is feeling bad about it, I understand from their angle.
Okay.
But saying that in the entire LGA there was no this, there was no this, we need to verify, and if we cannot verify, let the court interpret it.
All right, Chief Nze, thank you so much. But then, briefly, very briefly, it's a rhetorical statement, by the way, not for you to answer. You said that right now the concern in River State is to wrestle power from the powers that be, and then you can channel the energy to the federal. But it's also very important to note that in wrestling powers from powers that be, it is very essential to do it in a way that you are not seen as part of the system you are fighting, if you understand what I mean. Hi, Chief Jackson Lekojo, what is your take on this, first of all, the local government polls, and then the reports or the growls of the Labour Party candidate against the conduct of the local government election in Rivers State?
Well, I don't know, maybe it's the Honorable Chinwon that
yes, Prince Chinwon.
Maybe he has not been living in the country. Maybe he just returned from the Great Britain or from America, where things are done properly, things are done normally. You understand? He may not understand the norm of our political electioneering system in Nigeria. The norm, because it's lawlessness, and they are turning it to become the norm. It is now a normal thing, which is not strange or new or surprise to many of us in this country. That same day, election was held in about 3 states. I think Benue State, Akwa Ibom State. Benue State, the ruling party there clear all, and in Plateau State too. The ruling party there clear all the councillorship and all
the chairmanship positions.
Yes. But there was magnanimous in electoral corruption in Imo, in Akwa Ibom State, because another party was allotted 1 seat. Then in River State too, another party was allotted 1 seat in Eche. It is winner takes all. It is not winner takes all. I want to say it is the ruling party takes all when it comes to the issue of local government and ward elections in this country. That's why most of us are saying the INEC at the federal, they are very bad, but the state independent, they are worse. You understand? So it's within his right to complain, to ventilate his anger. But I sympathize with him when he said he will go to court to go and reclaim his stolen mandate. But there is a contradiction. You say election was not, there was no election in Port Harcourt City that same day. You understand? That is to say, he would have been going to court to go and advise the court, plead with the court, to call for rerun of election. Because in a situation whereby you said there was no election, which mandate are you going to claim?
Center.
No collation center, no work collation center, no local government collation center, no resources, nothing. That means there was no election at all by him. Then, which mandate is he going to claim? He wants a situation where court will award it to him. He would have been going to court to plead that court should call for cancellation for a run. So that is the mistake he made. So to me, I wish him every best. But I read this somewhere yesterday that coalition of political parties and those people that contested, all the contestants for councillorship and local government, they have agreed unanimously yesterday that none of them will challenge the result in the court. So maybe this guy want to isolate himself to go and contest the result in the court. I wish him every best.
All right. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the show. Do not go away.
As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The contenders are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the government. Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The contenders are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the government. Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The contenders are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the government. Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
The contenders are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the government. Give us access to our money in return.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Former presidential spokesman Doyin Okube says the political crisis bedeviling Rivers State has got to a point where it could seriously harm the nation's democracy. In an interview with press on Sunday, Okube said that the crisis had the potential to destabilize the nation if not quickly resolved. He described the rift between Governor Similaye Fubara of Rivers State and his predecessor, the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, as well as the attendant political turmoil in the state as unfortunate. Going down memory lane, one is sad to note that the feud between Wike and Fubara is comparable to that between late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the then Premier of Western Region, and the then Premier of Western Region, Chief Samuel Akintola. As remote and limited this crisis was then, it was one of the precursors of the collapse of that republic. He continues to say, it will be wise for the federal government and men of goodwill in Rivers State and the entire nation to move in on this matter before it goes completely and uncontrollably out of hands. According to the ex-presidential spokesman, it is clear that only political solution can be effective in resolving all issues and all sides in the crisis. Recall that Wike and his successor Fubara have been engaged in political struggle over the control of the state for some months now, which has created tension in the state and polarized the state assembly. The crisis escalated in the wake of the conduct of the October 5 council elections, the outcome of which led to violent destruction of some council secretariats by political thugs. The appeal court in Abuja on Thursday affirmed a lower court's decision nullifying the state's 2024 budget signed into law and being operated by Fubara, further creating uncertainty. The 800 Naira billion budget was passed in December 2023 by a faction of the State House of Assembly loyal to Fubara, led by Edison here. Let me start with you, Jackson Lekojo. You have been a regular on my show, and in the course of, in fact, the beginning of this crisis, you have been a strong voice. And I want to know what you think about Doyin Okupe's statement. Do you think that political solution it's what is needed at this point? Do not forget that a political solution was once attempted by the president and it backfired, it didn't work. Do you see that working at this point in time?
Genuine political solution is what the matter required now.
All right.
Not the kind of political solution, the interference of Mr. President some time ago.
All right.
The political solution with the interference of Mr. President some month back did not work because it was one-sided.
Okay.
Truth was not told by Mr. President. Order was issued, whereas Mr. President had no right, has no power to issue an order to a state governor. It is impossible. It is not done anywhere in the world. We are not under military dictatorship. So the only solution, I think, is political really. But it does not even need the intervention of Mr. President, because Mr. President, no matter how Mr. President intervene, his interference, a lot of people will still notice some political reasons there. That is to say, Mr. President must be seen as somebody that would have been supporting his minister.
Mr. President will be seen as a vested interest in this
exactly.
matter. Right.
Because Mr. President said something that time. He said, the 27 members, he said, do you see children walk into your house and you chase them away? So that one is still in the mind of every Nigerians and people across the globe. So that statement then was not a political, it's one-sided. And people believe that what is happening today in Rivers State, a lot of opinion sees as Wike is no longer fighting for any other thing than to fight to make sure he's weakening the institution, the political institution headed by Fubara in Rivers State, in order to deliver it to Mr. President come 2027. So Mr. President can never see as a neutral person in this matter. So I believe, I listened to on a television program, I listened to Honorable West Idausa and Prince Tony Cole, or thereabout, by Pastor Tony Cole, where they were analyzing what happened. And Tony Cole suggested something. Tony Cole suggested that he even specifically mentioned Pastor David Ibiomie, he mentioned Atedo Peter side, and he mentioned no, I think Rufus Ada George. He mentioned these three persons with some others, that if they can come together, somebody like me, I've been advocating for this for a very long time. We have religious leaders, respected religious leaders of global repute in Rivers State. We have some top traditional rulers in Rivers State, and we have top political leaders too in Rivers State. These people could come together and call these two political gladiators together and see how to resolve this matter. I've been saying it. The resolution of this matter is not for Wike and Simfubara to go to restaurant to eat, to call them, for economy, development of the people of Rivers State, for security and safety of life and properties in Rivers State. As it stands today, there are some friends that are no longer talking again. There are some husband and wife that are quarreling today. This one is simplified, this one is wicked. You understand? This is not good. There are some song, there is a particular song you sing today. Every wicked people will walk out of that place. There's another one you sing. Every simplified people will walk out of those places. So to me, there is no peaceful coexistence today in Rivers State. And in the absence of peaceful coexistence, that is to say, the security of life and property is not guaranteed. And when the security of life and property is not guaranteed, definitely what happens? The economy of that particular state will crumble. And apart from that, Rivers State is one of the major states in this country where the revenue generating that the federal government is generating either from the custom, from the Nigeria Port Authority, from oil and gas. Rivers State is one of those states. So if there is crisis, political crisis, and it engulfs to high level of insecurity, definitely most of the oil companies staff in Nigeria in this particular state will vacate. Bank will no longer work. A lot of the economy will crumble. When the economy of Rivers State crumbles, it will affect enormously the economy of the country. So that I believe the traditional leaders here, they could even talk to the traditional fathers across the country, because this is Nigeria we are talking about. The religious leaders here could talk to their own people too, in Lagos, in the north, and every other. Let them come together. It's not for the purpose of years of Wike and Simfubara. It's for the purpose of the people, property, economy, security of Rivers State. It is very, very important now that it should be done before this thing move beyond this point. If we are getting to the water is getting warm now, do we expect it to get to boiling point? No, we should not allow it to boil.
Right. Then what do you have to say to this statement that a political solution is needed?
Yeah, every right-thinking person should know that the only solution to this crisis is political solution.
Okay.
Why do you say political solution? It has to be a Nyendeba and Nyendeba. And before you balance such an equation, we have to understand from the viewpoint of Okupe. I think he pointed it out that if Rivers State crisis, as we have seen that Rivers crisis has been unending, and in fact trending in every media house and social media platforms and all that, and it keeps generating. There is no how Rivers people will fold their hand for someone who has served to come and lord it over them, and there is no how the person who has served with his own group will fold their hands and have their if I may call it their stooge boy, who was their boy yesterday and today a master, overtake them or override them. You see that the crisis will seem to continue. Therefore, there is this need for the opinion leaders in the state, the respected people who have attained some certain height, to come together and call these two persons. Because to me, I still believe that Wike is a boy to someone, just as Fubara is a boy to someone. Nobody has grown except if it's somebody who just want to be recalcitrant or who want to be mischievous, to say I don't have a master. No, no. But if we can have someone to whom he can listen, I think it is high time such people should come together, just like in the advice of Tony Ko, Pastor Tony Ko, you know, that some of these people should be called together. And I also want to include our former governor, Peter Odele, you know, who played a very important role in the emergence of Wike and sustenance of Wike's administration in Rivers State, Odele and his wife. And Jonathan's wife also, who to a large extent played a role into bringing Wike to governor, even when everybody was saying no, the Iqueres, the upline have ruled, let the riverine come up. At a certain point we said let the Gogo come, the Kukuru rather come up, and you know, these people imposed Wike on us, and immediately we discovered that Wike has been imposed. We all say, okay, well, since you've won election, then you have to rule. And you saw us clapping
imposition,
for him.
you say?
Yeah, he was imposed on the Rivers.
Was Amechi, was Governor Amechi, then Governor Amechi out of favor with Rivers people because of his position?
Yeah,
Hold on,
he played
because
a
you're
certain
taking
role.
us back to history.
He
Because
played
of
a
his
role.
position in Goodluck Jonathan's presidential ambition. You recall the Rivers State reserve funds, the allegation of Rivers State reserve funds using it to buy presidential tickets for Buhari then. There were issues in Rivers State, and at that point in time, a lot of Rivers people fell out with Amechi at that time.
Till tomorrow, when I look at what Nigeria is suffering under APC, I link it to Amechi. So when we come about the fallout of Rivers people with Amechi, you discover that
he played out during the election.
Yes, we saw
so
it.
When you now say
when we said that he was
the emergence of Wike was an imposition,
it would have another.
You're twisting history.
Not at all. We were here. We were here. We saw everything very clearly, very clearly.
And I was an election observer too.
Good. You discover that in as much as Amechi had fallen out with the federal, and Wike was at the federal, now we saw that, you know, when these political games are being played, you may not understand where it started. You recall that Wike was Amechi's chief of staff. Now, when Amechi advised that Wike should go to the federal, Wike never liked it. But I don't want to go into those secret details. Let's leave them there. And now he began to nurse the interest of, you know, pushing the young man out. We say that Ikwereman has just finished. Ikwereman shouldn't continue. River State is not created for Ikweres. Let another person, either Ogoni or Pure Riverine. So it was on that basis that some of us began to say, let the Kuku come up. If let somebody from Ogoni come up. And after that Riverine has, we are expecting that
Kuku's emergence was a problem at that time because he was the anointed of Amechi, and Amechi already had issues with Rivers people.
Yes.
So as not to twist history, let's just discuss this one.
Yes, that's why I don't want to take us much
let's go to this one. Yes.
You see, Odele will have to come in. Rufus Adajudge will have to come in. Rufus Adajudge. Tuenko, as he has suggested, not just David Ibiome, there are other outstanding ministers who are in this state and are of this state, and those who are even non-indigenous but have contributed immensely to the well-being of Rivers State. These people can be called together and let Wike and some of his group come, Fubara and some of his group come. They sit down. Now, here, take this. Here, take this. But let's Rivers State work. Now, Wike had governed for 8 years. We clap for him. We named him Mr. Project and all that. We thank God for him. I was discussing with my wife yesterday. I said, look, no matter what you do, you can't write away every good thing Wike did. In as much as you are saying no to what some of the things he's doing now, but we has helped us especially in clearing hold up along Aba Road. It is a milestone project, honestly, that deserves commendation, and we commend him for that. Now, and Fubara need to be given free hand to govern the state so that we can also enjoy the dividend derived from his own administration. Instead of we can now say, okay, you have finished your own and you have gone, you want to stay for this one so that you will not do anything. 1 year has passed, 1 year plus.
If I may ask you, what exactly is the problem between Governor Fubara and the FCT minister? The FCT minister has been asked what the problem is.
He refused to say it.
Nobody said anything. Governor Fubara has been asked over and over and over what the problem is. He has refused to answer. So now it is Rivers people that are assuming, it is us Nigerians that are assuming that it is existential fight. But the truth remains that if we are to analyze these things critically, that's where the issue now lies. How do you solve a problem? Jackson, how do you solve a problem that you don't know the foundation? Anything anybody is talking about right now is merely conspiracy theory. Pending when either the FCT minister comes out to say categorically, this is what the issue is, or the governor himself comes out to tell Rivers people, this is what, both of them, with regards to what the exact problem is, both of them are secretive and tight-lipped.
Let me say this. In as much as we understand, we are no longer babies. When a wife and husband are fighting, and you ask the wife, what is the problem? What's the cause of this fight? And the wife is not willing to say. You ask the husband, what's the cause of this fight? And the man is unwilling to say. Now you can deduce what the problem is, even though you don't get it completely correct.
You cannot deduce.
To an extent.
You
just imagine.
Whatever you deduce,
or
so
not correct.
It's still guesswork.
Now, coming to what is happening here, you discover that the problem the FCT minister is having with the current governor of Rivers State is narrowed down to what transpired before the election. The agreements they have.
Were you there when they had the agreements?
Which we don't want to say, because it has to come out from either the governor or the FCT minister. Okay. Since they have decided to keep it secret, we will help them keep it. But many of us, to a large extent, know all those things, and even know why some of these boys are hitting their heads, like Wanosika and the rest of them.
All right. Jackson, I asked you a question. How do you solve a problem you don't know the fundamental issue? What is the issue about?
Recently, I think about a week ago, on a television program, Wike was a guest, and the anchor asked him that we heard it was for financial settlement, and Wike said no. What? And he said the main reason that caused this problem was that the governor was trying to impeach the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And that was where the reaction of that impeachment move by the governor was led to this today. In that case, at least Wike has said something.
What he said is a manifestation of a more fundamental problem.
Yeah. No, what he said, no, there was peace.
Relative peace.
There was peace before this burning down of Rivers State House of Assembly as a result of people planning to impeach the governor. Wike said it clearly that the governor was trying to impeach the speaker, and the resistance of the majority members of Rivers State House of Assembly. But at the end of the day, Wike never talk. Amici never talk. You understand?
Yes.
But maybe if they are before all these respected persons,
they may open up.
Maybe they may open up. But I don't think any of them will be able to open up to the public.
So the public do not even know exactly what this fight is about.
They are top loyalists. They don't know what the whole thing is.
I was actually commented that
the top loyalists of Wike do not really know what they are just following him. Go and fight, go and quarrel, go and speak. The same people following Fubara do not know, and it may remain in the mind of Wike forever, and it may also remain in the mind of Fubara forever. They may not be able to say it out.
Now, in face of this analysis that you've given, genuinely speaking, in your opinion,
yes,
do you see peace? Because the truth remains that a lot of water has passed under the bridge. Genuinely, a lot of water. Even Amechi and Nyesom Wike's issue was not this bad.
Yes.
With what is present in Rivers State, and you mentioned something about friends not speaking. Yes. I mean, on my show, one of my guests accused his very close friend of friends anymore. They are no more talking. With the extent of bad blood now is personal for a lot of people. Do you see peace? Do you see, even if it's manageable peace?
I see peace.
Wouldn't it be an act of God?
I believe in God, but I believe God has given us to undo every other thing on earth here. You cannot just sit down in this studio and say, God, go to that my land at Oduigbo and continue to build it for me. It is not possible. You are insulting God because it's not our messenger. See, today, former governor of Rivers State is serving in the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whereas you can refer to Bola Ahmed Tinubu as his principal today. You understand? If Bola Ahmed Tinubu today call on Nyesom Wike, my minister, concentrate in Abuja. I don't want to hear you saying anything in Rivers State again. Play your politics. Mobilize your people peacefully and quietly. Nyesom Wike will honor and obey. At the same time, being the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chief Security Officer of this country. In the same vein, Mr. President had the right to summon the governor. Say, come. If Rivers State is on fire, nobody will enjoy what is going on in this country. I don't want Rivers State on fire. Please wait, do your politics. Wait till 2027. But do your politics, call your supporters to order. Because if there is any trouble in Rivers State, I will write to the National Assembly to declare state of emergency. The governor will obey. Because they know the implication of that. He wouldn't want his state to be engulfed. He will obey. Despite that it's not a staff of the president. But Mr. President, based on security, Mr. President has the right to warn the governor. Play your politics quietly, silently, peacefully. Call his own minister. The same. You discover that relatively. That is like what I've told you here and told the world. Fubara and Wike to come together today. We are not saying they should come together in order for the two of them to go to cinema together, to go and swim together. They should come together for the peaceful coexistence, economic development, safety, protection of life and properties in Rivers State. That is the purpose.
Right.
And Mr. President will be able to do it separately. Call his minister to order. Based on security, call the governor to order.
All right.
And you will see that we will have some peace in Rivers State.
All right. 30 days to the end of his tenure as governor of Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki has asked the governor-elect, Senator Monday Obeblo, to constitute a transition team. Obaseki opined that the constitution of the transition team by the incoming government was geared towards interfacing with the transition team of his outgoing administration. ATM reports that the secretary to the state government, Joseph Eboibe, made the call on Sunday in a statement made available to newsmen in Benin City. Governor Godwin Obaseki would end in his two-term tenure of 8 years on November 12, 2024. He would be handing over the government to Senator Monday Okpebholo, candidate of the All Progressive Congress, who emerged as the winner of the September 21, 2024 governorship election. In a letter dated October 10, 2024, and addressed to the governor-elect, Eboibe added that establishing the team would allow both parties to begin meaningful discussions and share vital information that will ensure a seamless transfer of responsibilities and continuity of governance. According to him, as we prepare for the transition of power, we believe it is crucial to establish a smooth and effective collaboration between your team and our current administration. To facilitate this process, we invite you and your party, the All Progressive Congress, to initiate the formation of your transition team at your earliest convenience. Establishing this team will allow us to begin meaningful discussions and share vital information that will ensure a seamless transfer of responsibilities and continuity of governance. We are committed to providing you with the necessary support to make this transition as effective and efficient as possible. Consequently, 14th October 2024 is proposed for the inaugural meeting for members of both transition committees. We look forward to your prompt response and to working closely with you and your team in the coming weeks. Together, we can set the foundation for a successful administration that meets the expectations of our constituents. Eboibe said the letter to the governor-elect, which was received by an admin secretary at the Secretariat of the Edo State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, Mr. Joy, responded to calls that in 2024, the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, had inaugurated a 20-member transition committee chaired by the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Joseph Eboibe, to pilot the smooth transition of power and knowledge to the next administration. Jackson Lekojo, you're well versed with Edo State politics. What is your take, in this move, considering the fact that Obaseki has been a sore loser with regards to the Gubai elections and the outcome of the Gubai elections in Edo State?
Well, by marriage, I'm from Edo State. And I lived in Edo State for about 12 years. I politics there too. That apart. Honestly, the normal thing that should be done by any outgoing governor is what Obaseki has done. We know of some states in this country that there was never an handing over note, that the governor just leave office and the new governor just came for swearing in and took over from the abstract. For Obaseki to have done this, he has done the normal thing, because it's like exchange of baton that must be done in a process, and the process is what? The process is forming this transition committee that will comprise of the one from the outgoing government and another one from the incoming government of the governor-elect. And I'm surprised why, because they are supposed to be office of the governor-elect in Edo State. So it doesn't really necessary that they should take it to party secretariat. There must be office of the governor-elect. But if that is not there, I think the major official address should be the address of the party in Edo State, which have been communicated to. So he did all those things in the rightful way. That's the way it should be done. And I believe, no matter what, possibly the memo was given to a wrong person. It's possible. Let me put it that way. I believe in few days to come, it could even be today, possibly these people will respond. But I know that definitely they must have been forming their own transition committee too, which eventually the two transition committees were going to be fused together and begin the process of handing over and taking over.
All right.
So that they would just formalize it on the final day of the administration of the incumbent governor.
All right.
I think it's okay.
All right. Nze, what do you have to say to this?
Yes, Obaseki has really demonstrated some level of maturity here, irrespective of the fact that they rejected the outcome. But being that it has been declared by the that conducted the election, and they have also taken to go to court, yet he still allowed peace. That is how people should behave. Not when it does not favor you, you break and scatter everywhere. So, in as much as it did not, the election outcome did not favor Obaseki and his candidate Asue Godalo, but he still had to come up to say, oh, since you have been declared, while we battle this matter in court, please let the needful be done. And he had asked them to, he has written to them, even though we still look at it, the inaugural this meeting will have to, their first meeting will have to hold on 14th of October, and you are sending that letter just about 2 days to that date. I don't think if that is too good. And also, number two, calling them to form the committee within, when the handover is just within 29 days apart. I think it is being impromptu. But no matter how impromptu that could be, we've seen in Nigeria where a governor will finish serving and vacate office, sometimes loot the office and go away like that, and the new governor will come and begin to, find out how to settle himself down and all that. So I think other governors should borrow leave from Obaseki. Yes. Right. Even though Okpebolo may not like the timing or the way the thing is, because just as my friend Jackson said, that this letter ought to have been taken to the office of the governor-elect, either his campaign office or his office, instead of being taken to the APC. But it's like the Obaseki group are giving more respect to APC than the governor-elect himself, though the governor is still subject to APC, being that is the platform that brought him to power. So, but still, no matter whether they did it right or they didn't do it right, but it has been done. Let them accept it like that.
All right. On the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party has criticized the state governor, Lucky Ayaditiwa, over the approval of 73,000 naira minimum wage to the state civil servants. Ayaditiwa on Saturday, at the kickoff of his campaign ahead of the November 16 governorship election, announced the approval of the minimum wage to workers, but the opposition party alleged that the governor was insincere over the amount. In a statement issued by the special advisor on media and publicity of the PDP campaign organization, Ayo Fadaka, on Sunday, described the governor's gesture as a mere Greek gift to cajole the workers to vote for him in the forthcoming poll. The PDP also described Ayadetiwa's administration as a failure to the people of the state and was seeking ways to cajole the workers, saying he should have increased the workers' salary before the present time. The statement read, "We notice with amusement Governor Ayadetiwa's decision to raise the minimum wage in Ondo State from the federal government approved 70,000 naira to a paltry 73,000 naira. This is obviously a hollow pretense that is calculated to present him as a workers-friendly governor, an assumption which falls flat on his face when due cognizance is taken of his failure to do this increment many months back. The fact that he's just using this now is a mere pretense. In a brazen display of desperation, this marginal wage increment serves as a flimsy attempt to curry favor with the electorate, masking his administration's colossal failures across every critical sector. It is a move that reeks of calculated deceit and not at alleviating the suffering of the people, but at securing their votes through shallow tokenism." The statement argued that if Ayadetiwa was a leader who genuinely cared about the welfare of his people, he would have since addressed the root causes of Ondo State's challenges, poverty, unemployment, and the decay of essential services. It added, his administration has been defined by neglect, indifference, and a stark lack of empathy for the plight of the common man. Rather than champion sustainable development and meaningful progress, he has opted to dangle this meager wage increase as a political carrot, a last-ditch effort to manipulate and hoodwink the electorate in pursuit of his selfish political survival. Reacting, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Strategic Communications, Alan Shawore, said the allegation by the PDP was baseless and showed that the opposition party was ignorant of the performance of the current administration. The first thing to understand is that the minimum wage is a law, an act of the National Assembly that must be implemented by all the governors in Nigeria. What Governor Adetiwa has done is simply add an extra 3,000 naira to the minimum wage, which is commendable. As for the timing, it's important to know that anything worth doing is worth doing right away. The Ondo State government had already set up a tripartite committee to work out the consequential adjustments from level 1 to level 17, and this process has been ongoing for some time. However, the opposition pretends as if all of they've resorted to inaccurate reports, blackmail, and propaganda. Governor Lucky Adetiwa has consistently prioritized the welfare of the state workers since assuming office. In Ondo State, salaries are paid promptly, and even pensioners are not neglected. You are a politician. What do you have to say? The addition of extra 3,000 naira to the 70,000 naira minimum wage as passed into law by the National Assembly. Do you think it has a political undertone?
Whether it has political undertone or not, it is left for the person who has dangled that carrot. But you see, I disagree with PDP on this matter, because I see it as a mere propaganda. Because when you try to paint every action of your opponent black, just to make a cheap impression and all that, I don't agree with that. You see that merely increasing the minimum wage or agreeing to pay the minimum wage does not give anybody victory in Nigeria. We've seen that in the case of Edo State, where even the governor, a ton of 70,000, he said he will pay. Even when it has not reached 70,000, he said he will pay. And yet he was paying, and yet he lost the election. So if that is what Adetiwa wants to do, it is still very much possible that he can lose the election, because you are dealing with rational minds. Every leader's action revolves around the intelligence. So you don't just do that for doing sake. But I think that if Adetiwa had agreed to pay even above what the agreed amount was, which is now 70,000, but he has said he will pay 73,000. I think it is to the betterment of people of Edo State. So he should be. Right. But unfortunately, he will be paying this just for 1 or 2 months, and he will be out of office.
So the burden does
not lie. Will now lie
if
on
he
the
wins,
incoming.
He's coming for re-election.
If he wins, he continues. We are all here in Nigeria. We'll see how he continues. Then if he fails, then he will be leaving the burden for the incoming government. But whichever way, it is to the betterment of Edo people and Ondo State people. So for the PDP to come to say, no, he's doing this just to curry favor. Now, what do you want before? I have said it over and over again. Let those who have been elected into power govern the people, curry favor of the people. How do you do that? Please give these people what they want.
All right.
And Nigerians are not asking for much. I've not seen Nigerians coming to say, like, state government of federal government, build houses for us. Where even the normal pipe-borne water that is supposed to be our right, it's not giving us. We are now sinking boreholes here and there. And you see, in some states, some people will even come to say you pay tax for the borehole you sink in your compound. When they fail to provide us pipe-borne water, we now provide one for us. They'll come to take tax and all that. But in as much as the governor of Edo State have come to say, I will pay 73,000. Let him pay so that we'll see. Let Edo people, even though 73,000 in Nigeria is nothing. Right. Yes, economic situation and the inflation that we are suffering passing through now. But for the PDP to come and condemn that action and all that, no, I don't agree. It's just a propaganda.
All right. Chief Jackson, what do you have to say to this?
I think this one is better than sharing t-shirt to impress rice, gari, eating corn along the street with the people. I think this one is better. But then, if he fails to win this election, what is the capacity of the government of Ondo State? What is the workforce like? Is it tenable? Is it affordable? Can any other government in Ondo State afford to carry this and effect it? It happened in my state, Osun State, when Aregbesola was coming for second tenure. He increased worker salary. He employed over 3,000 boys, called them internal security boys and others. At the end of the day, he started borrowing money in order to make sure he paid this thing. When he won the second tenure, he started paying some people are earning 25% of their salary monthly. He did that for the second 4 years because ab initio, Osun State was not as rich as to pay all those things. When the governor left, what happened? Are they still there? No. Most of these people will just do this one to me. I think it's a projectional vote buying that they are trying to do there. Honestly.
To sway the sentiments of
exactly.
to their own favor.
That is it. But then, whichever way we put it, brother that is feeding all of them could not pay more than 70%. And they were hooked on the neck by the labor before they even agreed 70,000. And that is where all of them are going.
Let's just assume probably they have up to 300 or 500,000 civil servants, and you multiply 3,000 naira by 500,000. Like it or yes, that's a lot. EFCC hound these governors after they are done with their tenure. One would say they should be able to pay these monies. So now, are we looking at, like both you and Nze has raised as a concern, continuity of payment of this, or a situation where even if he doesn't win or he wins at a much later date, he is unable to pay, or there will be gross retrenchment much later? How do you see this playing out, considering the increased FAC allocation? Because the truth remains that the budget of states right now, I mean, compared to the beef up, you know, the welfare of their citizens. What do you have to say to that?
To make sacrifices. We have leaders who want the people to live out of the crumb that falls from their table. You see, to a very large extent, if the government of Ondo State today wants to be truthful, adding 3,000 naira to 70,000 naira won't be any big deal. Because you need to see what the government or the governors spend on their private and personal affairs. And you begin to wonder, if you can spend so, you know, such huge sums on your personal interest, things that concerns you, and when it concerns the people, you begin to apply economy and all that. I don't see that as being good. But if the government of Ondo State have looked into their revenue, the FAC, the money they generate in their state, and they believe that this was
well. Like River State, I expect River State to pay up to 90,000 or 100,000, honestly, because this state is rich. Yes, and the governor have come to tell us that even the IGR they are generating now is too high. So, and the FAC is getting high. Now money will be coming directly to the local government. Let them use all these things to better the lives of Nigerians, because we didn't commit any crime to be born into this country. The leaders of this country should help us. And if they cannot handle this matter. Let them step out. We live in in the house I'm already living now and govern the state.
All right, Nze.
And when I finish, the state can decide to build me a house if they so wish.
Okay, Nze.
If they don't, then they go with it.
All right, you have publicly declared your intention to run for election in 2027.
Yes, if the INEC can reduce to.
For what position is that?
Governorship for that matter.
I wish you every best. I will support
honestly, if INEC can agree to bring down political parties to bring down their forms and all that. You know, let me say this. I intended to run for 2023 presidential election. Yes, I intended, but the political form, then I will pay 3 million naira as a declaration of intent. And I say, okay, no, if I will pay such amount, then you should remove issue of what's it called, primary election, and let me be the sole candidate. And he said no, that I'll pay all these things and stay content. And at the end of the day, it was the national chairman who refused me that later became the presidential candidate.
All right, interesting. Jackson, why are you laughing? You wish him the best, and I wish him, you're shocked.
I wish him the best.
All right.
I believe that if Jackson is from my constituency, he will vote for me.
Definitely, I will vote. I will vote
and
for
you. I know
you.
that there are many people, even though Laurentia will not vote, but there are many people that will vote for me.
Laurentia will be in the studio.
All right, Jackson, what do you also have to say? Your final take on this before we... Now, they said that the 73,000 naira in reality may not even do much considering the current economic reality in the country. So now, when we look at what is being paid as minimum wage, the current economic reality, and the body language of our leaders, one would wonder, it's not even like it's going to get better. It doesn't look like it's getting better. Considering as well, in fact, as at the time the 70,000 naira minimum wage was agreed, PMS was lower than what it is right now. Now, with the price of PMS increasing, there is still going to be more inflation, and the purchasing power of Nigerians will be further reduced. So when you look at this, as much as the fact that probably right now civil servants in Ondo State might be rejoicing, but it will be a kind of mixed emotion, because even at the end of the day, your salary is lower than a bag of rice in Nigeria.
Everybody must not eat rice.
Your salary is lower locally. See the problem. It would have been different or made a lot of sense if it is foreign rice. We say, okay, importation and all of that, custom duties and all that. Locally grown rice in the next state, probably 4 hours away from your state, you have to, your salary is lower than what is called a staple food in the country. Your salary can only buy 3 basins of garri. 3 basins of garri. Wow, your salary cannot even afford you bread for 1 month. We can go on and on and on, because a loaf of bread right now is about 1,600.
2,000.
I want to.
Oh, 2,000. All right. Go on, Jackson.
I'm too anxious to want to come in quickly.
Okay, go on.
You see, the people we call leaders, they are our enemies, or we are their enemies. I read so many books. I read a book whereby he advised you not to empower your enemy. And another one said, if you know the source of the root of your enemy's plant that shade his head, go and cut the root. And these people are seeing us as enemies. So how do you think they want anything good for us? My father told me one story when I was just like 11 years. He said in the olden days, they were using calabash or clay pot to fetch water. So at a particular time, the white people came and they will bring iron bucket. That you people should no longer be going to the farm to fetch water with calabash and others. Take iron bucket. But before you take that iron bucket, they will collect your gold. And people were very happy, jubilating. The iron bucket, the cost of the iron bucket is now up to 0.01% of the gold they are taking from you. But you believe these white men has come to collect gold from you to help you resolve the issue of if you are coming from where this thing, any small thing can happen, the calabash will fall, the water will break. Maybe you have only one calabash. But at the end of the day, much later they realize that the white people have come to deceive them. They use the 70,000 naira to cajole the people, the labor. And I listened to Ajairo sometimes ago that he said part of the condition was that in the nearest future the price of petroleum should not be increased so that the money will become meaningful. But they have collected gold from them to give them bucket. And that is what they are facing today. And part of these leaders is one man that is supposed to be the head of the National Assembly, the lawmaker. During the protest, even when the executive were trying to persuade or to dissuade people from that protest, you understand, he came out public and he said, let them go and protest. We'll be here, we'll be eating. And that is one of the leaders that you thought they mean well for the workers. They see workers as slaves. They didn't see workers as colleagues in the service of the fatherland, service to the fatherland. They see workers as slaves. They see workers, they didn't want anybody that will, one way or the other, to compete with them. We serve their fathers. They want our children to come and serve them. We are still passing through this. The labor is threatening that if they didn't reverse the price of fuel, they will go into nationwide protest. The number 3 citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in place of administration has to come out on the plenary to say, my advice to Nigerians is that they should go to see where they can get free food. That statement is callous, is satanic, is luciferic, is demonic, is reckless, is insultive, is demeaning of the people of this country. It is a direct statement that shows that you hate the populace. And that is the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that has oversight function over the executive. This is a Senate and the chairman of the National Assembly that should be able to look at, they know what the federal government income is. Federal government cannot spend 10 kobo without their appropriation. These are the people that should be able to, and these are the direct representatives of the people. Whom do you call senators? They are the proxy to the people. We send them there to go and protest our interest. They are the people we know. These are the people that you sit down and call the executive. That say, you can afford to give these people 150,000 naira. But the chairman of the National Assembly is the one that's saying the only advice is that people to go and get free food. Where do you get free food? Free food means when you are passing by and you see bread seller, manipulate and collect the bread and run. When you are passing by, you see cow breeder chase them away, carry cow. Free food means you go to Jackson Lake or just fish farm and collect fish for yourself. Free food means you go to any farmland to harvest their farm produce. Those are free foods. You are now advising that Nigerians should not have hope again and they should take to self-help. That means you can go to a restaurant and immediately they serve you food before you pay. You run away. Those are what I know as free food. You look at it. So if you have the number 3 citizen, the head of the National Assembly, saying all these things, where is the hope? We hopefully, sometimes ago, 2023, we hopefully went out to vote for hopelessness. And that is what we are facing today. The Senate President is telling us that there is no hope. We should go for self-help. Anywhere in the world, self-help is always coming with anarchy. Breaking down of law and orders is a pity. And I sympathize with Mr. President. This Senate President is further discrediting, attracting more anger to his administration. But good luck to him, because he supported the emergence of Akpabio to become the Senate President. Good luck to Nigeria. If we help ourselves, God will help us.
All right. Nze, what do you have to say as we round up the show?
You know, Jackson rightly said, and I want to join force with him to say that Nigerians hopefully voted for hopelessness. So it is what we imported that we are enjoying.
Yes.
Yes, Nigerians voted APC and they are enjoying the outcome of APC administration. You see, the man Akpabio is like it's like there are people who are always lying in wait. You know, as a man that freely talks, he runs mouth. So these people seem know that he will soon speak. So they are waiting, and he will vomit. He will say, "You speak nonsense." I said it in this very studio sometime last year that Akpabio's emergence as Senate President is not acceptable by me. It is not acceptable, and that Akpabio will not do well. In as much as by God's grace he's handling and keeping his likes. But you see that from the utterances that come from this man, you see that he seems not to think before he speaks. How will you say that Nigerians should look for where there is free food? Oga, you are in that place representing us, even though you didn't contest the election, but you have been declared winner. That is what we are seeing. Him and Ahmed Lawan, they didn't contest, but they are in the Senate. And today he's the head of the... So I begin to wonder what we'll get out of these people. So I know that APC has nothing to offer. Tinubu himself has nothing to offer us. In fact, he's bereft of idea. That is why people who are around him can speak anyhow. You see, he's on Manoga coming to say that the president has freedom to fly to wherever he likes. That he's on leave. So he has freedom to fly and feel and enjoy himself
in our aircraft.
We have what it takes to pay prices and persevere. You know, like Olurentunu will come and say Nigerians. In fact, Nigeria, we understand what you are going through, but suggesting that we should go through mental check. You can imagine such nonsense, such aberration. These were in government. So I don't have hope in APC. I am just trusting that God helps to survive these 4 years. Then if at the end of the 4 years, Nigerians will allow both INEC, both the corrupt judiciary to do to us what they did in 2023. Well, so be it.
Right, gentlemen, and this is why we wrap it up on this episode of Open Conversation on a very sober note. Thank you so much, Chief Jackson, for coming on Open Conversation. It's always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you so much, Nze, for coming. It's a
Thank you very
pleasure.
much.
And we are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia. Transition News comes up next. Do not go.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under economic stability and confidence. To condemn this act, I call for critical belief of this minister and cabinet.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always